Hi everyone, today is a really important day for Wilmslow Health Centre. We're joined by Keith Grimes from Curistica, and along with Wilmslow Health Centre and the team, and especially Ayaz here, today marks the sign-off of our DCB 0160 for use of Scribes again.
Congratulations! A momentous day to land compliant use.
Absolutely. Our staff are so happy. We've never had a day where our staff have been as unhappy as the day that we said we suspended use of Scribes after that letter came out. But thanks to you and Ayaz and the rest of the team, we're back up and running. Over to you, Keith.
Yeah, well, look, congratulations to you. It's your work, Az and Fari, and yourself as CSOs now. Starting out on that journey, which can be, can feel quite steep at the start. But being a CSO is very important. It's one of these critical things. Like you in a practice, you monitor your clinical service, your medications and everything like that. Technology is no different. It's powerful stuff. It can go wrong. You want to stop it going wrong. And if it does, recognize it and sort it out. And there's a little process you do at the start. It's something that hopefully people get more used to. But right now, working with you to sort of get you used to something that I've been doing for a wee while has been great, yeah. And I've learnt things along the way, actually. This is the nice thing about seeing how it's used on the ground or will be used on the ground.
Yeah, so it's great. We've got all this new tech. We're living in the fourth industrial revolution. The stuff that you can do with it is so powerful, but we have to balance that with getting it right with the safety checks and the regulation. And there is a balance to be had, isn't there? I mean, there's a whole industry out there which is sucking its teeth and saying, oh, you can't use that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And on the other hand, we've got people who are really a bit gung-ho about their approach to... I'm not gung-ho.
I didn't say anything. Did I say anything?
I'm very safe with how I use tech. That balance has to be there, doesn't it, Ayaz?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things I found really fascinating was seeing the process from doing it without any prior practical knowledge of application, and having Keith there to provide that sort of framework on how to then build on that over the time we've worked together. It's now meant we've got a real understanding of when we want to bring in new technologies, we can do that safely with the team together and really feel confident that we've got the compliance in place, because as Amal rightly said, there is an attitude maybe being a bit more gung-ho maybe and not thinking about some of the safety aspects, which until you sit down and really consider them, it really brings that to home about how potentially some of the risks need to be controlled when we're using some of this technology.
And it takes a minute, particularly with new technologies, to understand what's going on under the hood, because you need to understand what's happening to understand how it might go wrong, particularly with something a bit more subtle like ambient voice, where if there's a mistranscription, it could be, it could be hard to spot. So you want to be vigilant for that. But at the same time, you also need to understand the minute you start understanding that what happens with DCB, this standard, is that essentially it's just your argument as to why it's safe to use it now and keep using it. You say this technology is safe, the manufacturer does their work and they provide you the material, you have a look at it, and you say, okay, well, there's this last mile, like my practice has got its own particular differences. What will happen if I use it here? Is it realistic that everyone's going to be changing all the time? Is there going to be noise? My patients, are they going to be understood because of their language or their dialect? All these things are very personal to you and your practice and patients. So you need to know them. You need to understand and be initially guided, but then later on, step by step, thinking logically, what happens if this goes wrong? What happens if this doesn't happen? And then what can we do to stop it? Or if it does go wrong, how can we fix it again? And that's what you've gone through. You've got that first bit, celebration, you got it out there. Now comes the bit that you've signed up to, which is now we're going to keep watching it.
Brilliant. So we're a lot more confident in using this tech, and we are just getting started, Keith. So I hope you're ready. We've got lots of...
Born ready.
They're queuing up.
They are actually queuing up. We've been approached by so many people. Some of them are chancers, and some of them won't touch with a barge pole. So we've got to separate the really safe ones and the useful ones, and actually get them implemented, because the NHS now, as you know, under a lot of pressure, and we just need to get the technology deployed in a safe fashion to help our patients and our staff, not to replace, but to augment.
Yeah, and it's the augmentation. It's like, so if you look at ambient scribes, that ability to, take some of the load of being focused on the screen and not the patient, that's part one. But then that allows you to re-engage with them again. And then ambient voice from companies like Heidi, Tandem, Tortoise, Accurix, everyone else that's out there, that's opening up this next stage. But of course, each of these new fancy features introduces potentially new risks. And that doesn't mean you can't use them. You just need to take a moment. How can I use this safely? How does it stay safe? And then you proceed, and, as you learn more, you'll be able to be more confident with these steps.
Brilliant. Keith, thank you so much again. Anything to add?
I was going to ask Keith, if you're someone watching this who doesn't know where to start and thinking, we'd want to really show the opportunities to use this sort of technology, where would they start? I mean, we started obviously from a CSO perspective, but there may be people out there who haven't got CSO training, and so where would they go if they wanted to implement this sort of technology?
Yeah, I think we need to do a better job. I mean, I spend a lot of my time at Curistica talking about either supporting CSOs and DPOs and people in practice, or even being them at practices and PCNs, federations, ICBs, whatever. The truth is that there'll always be a kind of front edge and technical things, and that's maybe where we dwell on that and helping implement it and supporting people. If you're getting into this, there's a lot of WhatsApp groups, you'll know this, they're sort of closed groups, but you get invited, and there's one called AI in the NHS, which is fantastic. There's a really good mixed group of folk. Few people say a lot, and then a lot of people listen, but that's fine. I think we need more events and webinars and so on, and people talking about it. And also people, regardless, you don't have to be a CSO to be involved in this. As you understand the technology, you have to play your part too. You want to be able to explain to your patients about this technology as well. And then as you do that, you'll start thinking, there's these other areas that I want to try and fix, but you'll have a bit more confidence. So it may feel scary just now, but there's a lot of folk trying to make it simpler to help, because goodness me, we've got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. On that note, Keith, thank you so much for your time. We'll let you go because you've got to have a bit of a rest before you work on our next project.
Well, that's true. And I know there's some really fancy stuff. We're working on our tech. You're working on your tech. I'm sure we'll be sharing more of that. So watch this space, folks.
Look forward to it. Take care, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see you. Bye now.